Yes! Hello today, look! It's Zenkai Awakening Purple Broly. The memes no more! It's now legit. I mean, we all saw it coming. We all knew it was eventually gonna happen. Ever since Nameku, aka Engi Goku, got a Zenkai, we knew that he was going to Bakayaro, which also meant that we knew that this guy was also going to go "Nah!" and it'd just be like that. So, we know that Bardock got a Zenkai. We know that Gogeta got a Zenkai. Which means Gogits and Bardock, since they are part of Holy Trinity, it only meant one extra thing. We are going to get a Zenkai Holy Trinity Purple Borly. And that's why I hope you guys are excited, because now you get to die even further in PvP. No, I'm actually kidding you. Based upon his kits, let's cover, is he worth it or not? Yes. If you run Super Saiyajins, if you run Saiyans, if you run movies, if you run powerful opponents, basically if you run anything that he could potentially cover, he's worth it. He might not have as a movies tag, but that's because the movies tag never actually shows up there. Or maybe it does. Maybe Sagas from the movies does show up there and I'm just not remembering it. But he is a Sagas from the movies character. So, and I know he buffs the team. So, regardless of whether I'm right or wrong on that one, it doesn't matter. The point is, this matters. He does buff the team, so he's beautiful, okay? He does buff up their purples, although he buffs himself, so he's the main one you're going to want to use. He's beautiful, okay? Stats-wise, you know, they didn't make him overtly insane, but that's on purpose because this guy ramps up a lot of damage, and he does a lot more damage than normal than he used to. Basically, he's amazing for what he is, as in, he will never be the oppressive powerhouse he once was. And the reason for that is that, just like the Nameku, certain things were taken away to allow him to exist. In this case, what made this man so broken was, well, at the time of his release, he was the strongest unit to ever exist. He broke the game, basically. Okay, that's an overstretch, although it did really feel like you had to have him in order to compete, and that was actually true in a lot of cases. Not entirely true, but it did feel like that quite a bit, especially for the inexperienced players, especially for the players that basically could not pull him to save their life. Man, this guy brings a lot of memories for me, but I love him. I love this board. But let's talk about actually why he'll never be what he once was, because I never actually got to the point. Back then, Blast Armor was super OP, because when you use the Blast Armor card, so basically a strike card, you would regain Vanish Gauge. Do you know how OP that is? Now they don't do that, right? So it's now, he'll never be what he once was, but he will still be very, very relevant in this meta. I can assure you, this is, if I could redo my purple list, and this would be a couple of seasons down the line, oh man, this man's making it. He's making it. He already is. Like, there's no doubt about it in my mind. This guy is scary. But let's take a look. We're looking at him from 7 stars, okay? So we're not going to look at the 14 stars. The 14 stars looks impressive. So after transformation, it doesn't look very impressive at 7 stars, okay? It doesn't. But they did this on purpose. And the reason for it is because of his unique abilities. They needed to find a way to not fully break this dude, and so they've done, I think, an excellent job at that. We have yet to see how he really performs on the battlefield, so I'll reserve final judgment thoughts on him until afterwards. But generally speaking, first things first, he nullifies color disadvantage twice. That in itself is scary. The fact of the matter is, this man, after 3 timer counts, gets a draw speed of up by 1 level. That's already insane. And then they said, if you keep him in for longer, he'll now have double the draw speed. And I'm just like, okay. Because that's still legitimately the same thing. It hasn't really changed, and it's still scary to this day. And now he actually has the damage to back that up. That's terrifying, especially with Bardock. Paired with Bardock, the increase of critical rate and critical damage is just terrifying. It's just terrifying. And what's great about this unit is that he's going to be a tank. He definitely has some tank ability. He's literally built to survive attacks. So get ready to actually use Clash of Powers for once. So basically where he takes damage and then proportionally he gains damage. So that's great. This is fantastic. And I just gotta say, it finally can be put to use. Like actual use. So that's awesome. And then we have two new things. So this one, it doesn't look very scary at first. And I mean, of course it doesn't. I mean, I feel like they were holding back a lot when it came to this skill. But I also gotta say that, you know, it's not that bad actually. Because this dude can stack the second part, right? So it's not gonna just be 10% for strike damage or damage. They could also use blast to avoid it, blah blah blah. But from what I'm seeing here, Borley is really just built to punish back the opponent if he has to tank an attack. That's awesome. And then let's take a look at it in Surmountable Opponent, because it's a very simple skill, yet I think it's pretty effective for what it wants to do. He enters the battlefield, gain ki. That's great. Let's face it, we like units that gain ki upon entering the battlefield. We just do, because those type of units do well in metas where you want to continue combos. Okay, so this dude is good. On top of that, he gains 30% damage just upon entering the battlefield. I can honestly say that's very relevant. And on top of that, with Bardock, it makes it even more relevant. And then -3 to blast arts costs. I mean, that's okay. I mean, could you have given him more? But yeah, but I wouldn't. I think that he plays his role effectively. He can be a tank and actually not have any color disadvantage while he's tanking. He can be an offensive juggernaut. He can be even better as an offensive juggernaut if paired with Super Saiyajins. Honestly, this dude, just as he is awesome. On top of that, you know, he gains ki again if you use his second ult. He gains extra damage. He has, obviously, his beautiful, beautiful ult. It doesn't, like, everything looks good. I don't have anything else to say. Like, if I look at before transformation, what he does, gains health, cancels a lot of debuffs. Good stuff. Is he game breaking? No. If you're looking for that OG purple Super Saiyan Broly game breaking experience that you probably experienced back in the day, you're not gonna get that again. They are very careful this time around, but I'm not saying that he's bad. He's good. He's really good. And he's definitely going to see play, tons of play. For how long, I don't know. Because definitely he's no Nameku. He might not have the same longevity. But for now, this dude is a solid tank. He's a solid damage dealer. And I can definitely see him coming back as the Holy Trinity as it once was. Just maybe not as oppressive as he used to be. But for sure, a great way to cement them in the game. So Bardock has another plaything to play with. And Gogeta has a partner that he actually wants to see. This also helps Saiyan's teams, so they don't have to technically run the Super Saiyajin 3 Purple Goku, or they could run them alongside this purple. Because now you don't have a color disadvantage unit. So yellows are no longer scary. That's insane. So again, Super Saiyans are definitely going to get the most out of this unit. Everything else will get a lot from this unit, but how much, I don't know, and for how long, I don't know. But for now, this unit with Bardock, with Super Saiyans, is definitely a lethal force. So I hope that explained things. I hope that gives you an idea of whether or not you want to Zenkai summon for him. I would honestly say if you main movies, powerful opponents, Super Saiyans, or Saiyans, then he's definitely worth investing in. If you do not run any of those teams, then in that case, skip him. You don't need him. He's not relevant to you. I at least I'm naming the tags off the top of my head that actually kind of matter, even if it's just a little bit. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't hesitate to tickle the like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe and click the bell for more notificaciones so you never miss another one of my videos. Have yourselves a salty day, and I will see you in the next video.
Mana mana, bum dum bum, bum dum bum, blam blam, Saitama!